Hello and welcome back to Rule the Waves 3, playing as Japan on Super Large Plus Plus. We have episode 66, 1934, and we are at peace again. So, had several episodes now fighting the Italians, and then we wrapped up the war, so to speak, and did a little war cabinet retrospective. But now we are ready to look forward and plan and build and all that sort of jazz. In 1 year, we are coming up on the next 5 year review, so we will do a little more in depth analysis of the current geostrategic situation. But for now, we will have a look at the 1934 start of year. Yes, so here we are, 1934. We made peace with Italy, obviously, and there are no AI wars ongoing, so peace all around. I'm still unallied. Great Britain and France have their little alliance. I would say tensions are low to mid. Spain and the US are a little bit annoyed at one another. Same with Italy and the US, but not quite as much. Italy is also annoyed with Spain and France to some degree, but nothing major. Russia and Germany, I guess. Japan and, well, Great Britain is my highest tension at 4, so that's basically nothing. We need to bump that up a bit without getting into a war. We want one in the 7 to 9 range. That's the ideal. No change here, except local shipbuilding is below the 25% threshold. That's not good. But of course, that is because we are not really building much at the moment. So we could build 11,000 more. So I wouldn't worry about that. Soon this will be remedied. But we have some plans for refits as well. So we have to balance the refits versus the new construction, because new construction does not, refits do not count against this. So we need 175. So we should start something big. Base resources made a absolutely humongous leap, going from 45,290 to 47,972. I took all my points from the war and put it into colony or possession acquisition. So yes, you do get a little bit of war reparations on top of that for winning a big win, but nothing on this level. So if we go back a couple of years, looking at the statistics there, we have had some years where we have had some really good gains in well over 1,000. So if you add some base war reparations to that, and then get really lucky, I still can't explain the last 1,000 or so. So something the game probably heard us complaining and decided, yeah, we've been horribly unfair to you. So no, I'm not gonna complain, but this was quite unexpected. I had to check the numbers several times, and I was like, "What is this?" But yeah, it is what it is. A bad thing to say, I guess, but in this case, it's very much so. We are up in colonies, so you can see that we are well over 50,000. So yeah, that's starting to look like something. And yeah, colony resources a little over 5%, so not too bad. Budget modifier, it dropped to 14 after the war. Then we had an event, so it's actually sitting at 15, which I think is very good. So quick, such a short time after the war. But with tensions such as these, that could well drop to 14, 13, 12. So let's not be too hasty there. Budget, of course, dropped because, well, the war ended, so nothing can be done about that. But 750 in peacetime, that is very good. The build to upkeep ratio, I set that as 20 plus 10 because basically we can build for 30 without problem, and maintenance is slightly below 20, so that it would realistically about 1.5 to 1, which is again very good for peacetime. And we have actually kept above our funds. I want to always have at least 100k, so yeah, cool. Well, I think we can safely say that our economy is A tier. I don't know how I managed to make that 52,500. I think I was trying to write 50,500. No, 50.5, that's what I was trying to write. But my point is, the US is just 10% above us now. Yeah, they might pull ahead, but we can do some more wars and stuff and maybe kind of keep pace. But that's not important. The important part is that the difference is so minor that we can basically say that we are on par with the US in most regards. I'm setting my fleet size to a B plus. It's not quite as large as the US and Germany, but it's definitely in the same ballpark. I would say that overall our fleet quality is good, but keep in mind that our fleet quality is kind of all over the place now. We have unrefitted ships from the 10s around 1910, maybe even before that. So those are not very good and need to be heavily updated or just scrapped. So, or both. So we'll look at that in more detail soon. I'm still, but I still think it's good compared to the other guys. It's good. You can see China probably had they have a small budget, but you can probably guess that they had some sort of crisis of age where they looked at all their ships and realized that they were like 20, 25 years old, and then they decided to scrap all of them at the same time. And then they have also strangled the budget by having too many subs. So just to make life even worse, they are actually building even more subs. So there are 2 sub-nations, 3, Great Britain, Russia, and China. And I really wish the AI wouldn't do this, but it does. So in terms of fleet composition, other than the US, I don't see anyone having more of us in anything, unless you count subs and planes, of course, but I don't think up to this point planes are pretty much a waste of money, especially as Japan, since we are not well, not in the med, but we are now. But we are not France, Britain. We don't need air cover in the North Sea and all of that jazz. So, capital ships, we are still planning to build 18-inch battleships because we are Japan, because we can, because we want to, and because they are actually quite good. We now have a fleet of 4 decent CVs. 2 more have been started, and of course, this being the mid-30s, we are going to build more. But I wouldn't rush the building right now because more tech and bigger carriers are coming. So just building 10 carriers now, that's not, I think, a good idea. I can see France is doing that, so then it's not a good idea. Ha ha ha. Now, I'm building 4 more 15 gun, 6-inch gun light cruisers. And I think I have 2 more planned. I have refitted all my DDs. Well, not the 2,000 tonners, they were modern, but all the 11 and 1,500 tonners. So now I have 70 state of the art, I would say, combat destroyers in the 1,100 to 2,000 ton range. Of those, the 1,100 tonners are mostly torpedo trucks. But that's fine. I'm thinking about mixing up my squadrons a little bit. You will not get to see that. I will do that behind the scenes, so to speak. Oh, we are down to 8 subs. Not that we are counting, but we might have to build some. Aircraft, I mean, we have less aircraft than Spain. Well, China is a special case. Airships. We have clearly inherited some airship bases. Didn't notice that until I saw this, so I will clean those out or maybe keep a few because in confines of the med, those airships can actually be kind of useful for spotting. So we'll see. Research was decent enough for 1934, a total of 7. I dropped research on machinery by 1 step because we got the final minus 2% engine weight tech, 500 psi steam plant. There are interesting engine techs coming, but those are relatively far in the future and includes a massive weight saving on diesel engines. That's when diesel engines become really viable, I would say. Armor +1, that's nice. Armor piercing, it says diving shells still, but it was an earlier tech, I think the tech before diving shells. Improved MTBs, not doing those, but we have them now. A better torpedo, better medium heavy AA. We got the air sea rescue that I just skipped because it makes things more expensive and we don't like expensive machinery. Yeah. And aircraft, not a lot of stuff going on here. The new dive bomber being developed is basically the same as the old one because it's actually either light range for recon work, but our torpedo planes are already longer range, so that's not a thing. Medium bombing, it's sort of 50 pounds different. Very rare to do sort of a heavy bomb load. I mean, it can happen, but they are virtually the same, but I'm hoping it's not poor. That's the thing. Fighter is getting older, so maybe research that next. Scout, float plane scout, fine, I guess. It keeps being poor, but whatever. The medium bomber is old, so maybe replace that one. But it's good. So, yeah. Naval patrol, decent. Torpedo bomber. They're not great range with torpedo, but also not bad. And it's average. I would say this is a fairly decent torpedo bomber for the period. So we can jump in or we can get building. Now, I was teasing this. We have a bunch of capital ships. And in case of our battleships, only 4 are viable. These 4 are good. They have decent speed. This one got the event that gave it an extra knot, so it's actually just 26, but +1. So when we refit, that will go away anyway. But these are my 16-inchers. Having just 4, we didn't even activate any of these. So we can see they were last refitted. This was refitted in 1912. These have never been refitted actually. And this one is from 1919, are getting obsolete. I need a minor refit. They haven't lost speed yet, but they will. So yeah, there's a lot to look at here. But basically, while I would say all of these ships are refittable, they have 10 14-inch guns and can be brought up to speed 26, which is okay for the era. Not exactly future-proof, but yeah, not horrible. But if we start out on the top, these Shinanos, they only have TPS-1. They only have 12-inch belts. They have single 6-inch mounts. That is not a big problem. We can either keep the single 6-inch, it's fine. Or we can replace them with 5-inch, that's also fine. Or what is essentially a second-rate ship. But overall, I think this is not worth it. Yes, speed will be decent. TPS will be bad. Armor is not nearly heavy enough to sort of tackle modern guns. So I would keep those in mothball until I get bored of them and then scrap them. It's the same problem with the Yamatos. Yes, they have double gun mounts. That is good. They have TPS 2, also good. And they are, well, bigger, so I guess better. But they have the same armor thickness. So again, anything from 14. Remember, the 14-inch guns of today have much better armor-piercing ammo than the 14-inch guns that existed when these were built. So these have comparatively bad armor quality compared to the armor-piercing tech of today. So another no-go. These four, however, I think can be retained and used to bulk out our battle fleet, because we only have 4 anyway. Pretty sure the game will object to me scrapping any of these battleships, because I only have, how many is this? 10? No, I can't. 10, 14, yeah. So if I try to scrap more than 2, I will get protests from the game, so that's why they need to be kept in mothball. But Nagatos definitely can and will be updated. The Tosas, yeah, these are 16-inch ships. They will be with us for a while. But it's actually hard to make them go much faster than 26 knots. We can definitely make them go 27 permanently, but pushing them to 28, that means we have to pull out a bunch of equipment. Might be worth it, but I'm not sure. So, minor refits for the Tosas and the Tambas, but these will start losing speed soon, so... but top priority to the Nagatos. Then we have the battle cruisers. We have quite a few battle cruisers. And again, if we start at the top with the Congos and the Akagis, yeah, it should not read. It should read O slash Akagi. Yeah, these are hopeless. They have TPS 1, they have weak belt armor, they have single 6-inch, but I could live with all of that. I could use them as cruiser killers, but they cannot be brought up to anything more than 30 knots, and that feels very, very weak. Well, maybe the game actually won't object to scrapping these because we have so many battle cruisers. We'll have to check that. Now, the Karavasa and the Kurama classes, however, are a completely different story. They can easily be brought up to not just 31 knots, but 32 knots, and that's pretty fast for the age. Their firepower isn't amazing, but their protection is pretty good with TPS 2 and is it 12.5-inch belt, so not hyper modern, but definitely worth keeping. So same as with the Nagatos, these two classes, Arazawa and Kurama, will be refitted, and I will give actually priority to that. The rest here they haven't started losing speed, and they are 16 inches, so these are the bottom 4 are the modern all-forward 31 nutters. These have 4 turrets and are slower, and as you can see, 29 knots isn't super fast for a battle cruiser in 1934. So eventually these will have to be refitted, and they can also be brought up to 32, so then we can have 1 squadron of 14 inchers, or we can mix and match. I think that will be good. So the Congos and the Akagis will go the way of the Shinanos and the Yamatos. So eventually I'm scrapping 6 battleships and 4 battle cruisers, but they are relatively cheap to keep around for now. Oh, I might not scrap them immediately. But remember, ships that you never activate, that you never use because you cannot afford it or you have no use for them in an actual war, what is the point of keeping them around? Sure, it's nice to see you have a large number of ships or a big fleet tonnage, but I would say that these are just draining resources. I'm never gonna if you're not gonna refit them, if you're not going to use them, you're just paying money for them. So there could be instances where you need the blockade points, that sort of thing, or you need a secondary fleet to defend at home while your main fleet does other things. But keep in mind that we are Japan and how we have arranged our security situation. There are not very many that can actually gain access to our home territory to try to fight us, let alone blockade us. So we don't really need, it's not like playing Germany or France or Italy or some of the other European powers where you really need to bulk out your points, blockade points, just to stay unblockaded, so to speak. Yeah. So these 14 inches will have priority. Then eventually, as these 29 knotters start to slow down, we will refit them as well. Now, for some new stuff. I have a couple of designs for our new lead battleships. It's an update of the Husan. We started back in the 20s, never built it. So we can go up to 76,500 tons. I can push it up to 28. That would outpace my other battleships, however, so probably not useful. We can put diesels on it. You can see from the armor scheme here that it's unchanged, but it's pretty damn good. We have 9 18-inch guns with a whopping 120 shells, because if you're gonna bring those 18-inch guns, you want to keep firing with them until everything is dead. The rest is unchanged with light AA and heavy and all of that. It's mighty expensive though. 8,500 for 33 months. Doesn't have Lex AA directors. That is incorrect, of course. There's no TPS4 because that hasn't been researched yet. Only has medium range. Very expensive. Looks like this. Fires will be provided, but there is an alternative. It's the... No, it's not. It's just... Oops. My editor is doing poor work here. Now, this is the budget version with the duplicated tertiary battery, of course, since I loaded up the template, so we'll need to fix that before putting it into production. This is just a 26 knot oil-fired ships, same as our existing battle line. It has slightly fewer shells, or like the normal shells, but the rest is basically the same with some adjustments. I think again 60 and 60 medium. So this is much cheaper. Not cheap, but much cheaper than the main version here. Otherwise, pretty much identical. So it ditches the diesels, it ditches 2 knots of speed and 100 shells, basically. That's what we do. And for that, you can take it down by 11,500 tons and about 1,500 a month. It's 50,000 less. So it's obviously not quite as good and definitely not as future-proof as the former one. But if we want to build this, it's gonna cripple our building slots in other categories, because we basically would need 4 of them to be useful, or make another class that's also 28 knots. And no, instead we will use this to bulk out existing squadrons. We can put one in each of 2 frontline battleship squadrons. I think that's more worthwhile. And it takes about 4 years before this is ready. We need to design it. We need to build it. So 4 plus 33 months. Then it needs to work up. And then it should be on active for a little while until it reaches a decent crew quality. So it would take about 4 years. And it's already 1934. If we wait much longer, we are never gonna field any of these other persons. No, I'm building 2. Another concept that I have looked at is the Colonial cruiser. It's a throwback to the 80s, 90s, where we had some cruisers that I called CS cruisers because they were super light and not really a frontline combatant. They did good work, but still. So the idea here is to go 4,800 tons plus Colonial service, which becomes 6,000, which is the maximum you can get full tonnage out on foreign station. Can make it 30 knots, TPS 1, 5-inch guns, minor secondary battery, some torpedoes, just an all-rounder. Not expensive, it's not cheap. You can get 2 battle-worthy 2,000-ton destroyers for that price, but I wouldn't say it's super expensive. But you can also see that the firepower is probably not that much. The firepower is actually less than all the torpedoes and guns on those 2 destroyers, and it's slower and all of that. This armor is also relatively weak, just 2 inches, so not actually a combat thingy. By comparison, a Colonial gunboat is about 5,000. That provides 3,000 for Colonial service. This is double, so for 10,000 you get 2 gunboats. Same level of Colonial tonnage, no fighting capability, no running away capability. No, but this can't actually run from anything fast. It's just 30 knots, so it can run away from battleships basically, nothing else. I'm not sure. It's not a horrible ship, it's not a good ship, but the point wasn't to make it good, it was to make a cool concept that isn't super expensive, that can replace those boring Colonial gunboats. So what it says, undecided. I might build a couple, then I can either regret it or I can figure out that, yeah, this is the way to go. Or maybe in the future with even more text, you can cram even more stuff into it. There it is, just 2 inches, so basically nothing. I looked at a 2,500-ton destroyer, but that's pretty much pointless because the only thing I can fit is an extra set of 4 torpedoes with reloads. That uses up 500 tons. Scale things up. Can't add a 5th 5-inch turret, or I can, but then I get a penalty to rate of fire, so that feels meaningless. If you go 6 inches on the main battery, that's also not ideal because then you get penalties because you are overgunned. So basically this is the same destroyer as the old one, but with spacious unit machinery and all the bells and whistles. And it's a lot cheaper than the 2,500 tonner, which I at this point don't feel will do anything for us. So the only problem here is that we basically have enough or nearly enough destroyers. We have 70. Most of them are 1,500 tonners. We have like 10 or 12 2,000 tonners left. And 15, 20, 11, 20, 1,100 tonners. So it's a good for now. Would have to build some additional destroyers going forward, but I don't think that we are in a rush. We might build 2, 3, 4 of this as we go. We'll see. This, it's basically the same, but we can fit more extra stuff. So we get 4 DC throwers and some mines and all spacious and unit. Or we could even rip it down a bit and probably make a damn good 1500 tonner for less, come to think of it. But anyway, it's time to play. So let's start by getting this one into production. It's not perfect, but it is decent. Don't need to call it A, but the design was A, so we're keeping that. Yes, we do. And put the Nagara. We have a lot of money. Need a director, so this is fine. We'll see what happens with it. Fairly short. Yeah, I tried my hand at a 6-incher, but it was expensive and pointless. I have in the past often experimented with having larger destroyers with heavier guns up front to sort of provide some cover from the torpedo trucks. Doesn't always work out that well, I would say. They just tend to cost a lot and then they die very easy. So that's not fun at all. Okay, now they are in design and there is that. Let's check aircraft and let's check bases. We were talking about, no, coastal fortifications. We were talking about airship bases. One has a double base. Entirely sure why that happens. Lindos. Lindos. Oh, that's why we had what appeared to be an airbase. Roads. Okay, so we have no airbase at Lindos, but we have an airship base. Now the question is how many airships, airship scouting missions do we really need going out of Lindos when we control the entire eastern med? I think the answer to that is not very many. So, coastal fortification. We will scrap. And we have Tobruk in Libya, Tripoli, and Benghazi. That sounds. This one in Olbia, that can stay. And the one in Malta can stay, but we don't need 3 bases in. Don't need the one in Benghazi. We don't need the one in Tobruk, I think. We keep the one in. Let's keep the one in Tripoli. Yeah, this is double as well. I don't know how. I don't think you can reduce the. Keep the one in Tobruk as well. Yeah, we can keep it for now. And we have some cover in this section. Well, Tripoli, Tobruk, Valletta, and Olbia. Yeah, that's fine. One has. Didn't we go up to 80? Yes, we did. I don't expect there will be a lot of fighting near Egypt, so let's not. Cyprus, same. Kalamatra, is that the one that's Wells? situated. Yes, Kalamata is fine. Thessaloniki, I don't think that. Yeah. Keep it Djibouti, Malay, uh, Hong Kong. Yeah, more for role playing reasons. Hainan, it's fine. Okay. Busan. Busan, I think can actually 80. Pearl Harbor is fine. Midway is too big. Okay. Dutch Harbor. Illusions. Okay. Let's do that. Do we have batteries everywhere or have we all? Like we have forts all over the place. Maybe we should expand. How much basing do we have in Northern Europe? 60. How much is this? 3 years. Uh, that's expensive, but it would bring it up to 100 plus some long range ships. I mean, uh, inch battery. I think Malta maybe deserves a similar treatment. It's a little bit wasted, but since we are going for global domination, I think it makes sense to have the ability to have a semi-combat effective battle cruiser squadron with supporting cruisers and destroyers at Iceland with air cover. That can be pretty useful. Now, the dream scenario here would be taking Ireland from Great Britain, because then you can effectively fight in the Bay of Biscay, and taking Norway away from Germany, because then you can fight effectively in the North Sea. 40 base capacity isn't a lot, but you can relatively cheaply expand ports here. Ireland is base capacity 50, so between them 90 plus 100. It's not a med, but it's as good as can be managed. Yeah, okay. Now I kind of regret spending so much money, but I already clicked the button, so I don't think too much about that. Air groups. Can we save some money here? Set it to 12. Yeah, that's good. We are down to 2.6. Research is fine. Intelligence, good. Total expense, 54. And ignore that for just one moment. Better gyroscope, that's cute. Pensions. No. Yeah, 1 month. We need to build something, but we are waiting. So let's look at air groups again. And we'll transfer to the Rio. We'll transfer to the Hue. That the word. Ships in service. Will be reserved. There have no aircraft and will hold every little penny saved. There working. Air groups, fighter, torpedo bomber. Yes, good. Add air unit. And now my maintenance cost will go up again, but that's fine. Okay, now everything is back home. It's reserved or mothballed, except this small squadron. Even have some subs here. Move those to the med as well, I think. We will begin refitting now. See how much it costs to refit these Nagatos. Open. Replace. Turbine. Advanced Director. You can see how long it's been. They have no actual AA guns. Okay, we need to upgrade those. Director. E66. And I think we will actually do the unthinkable and remove a pair of 6-inchers. Not their main purpose anymore. These to look good as well. Sorry. Something like this. Guns. What's that? At least makes some sense. My finest graphical work, perhaps, but too shabby. And you can see this is not horrendously expensive. So this is something we can actually do. And I think this will be a combat effective tip. I will save this. No, because we don't want to rebuild or at once. So we will do this. Fine. Need to not doing a full science study for this because I'm taking 9. I get a lot of speed. No, absolutely. Why is it diesel? That's why it's because that makes it quicker. Want to have spacious, so that's fine. Fine. Have more ammo. Fine. Sceneries too. Yes, I turned that one off. In case we wanted to get manual, but I already battle cruiser reserve. Okay. Good. Of average good administrator. Yeah, sure. I'll take him. Oh my god. What if they could just say who's I don't see anything important, so let's just yes, ignore. Torio. 2 destroyers. Chinese and the force. Tung Peninsula, is that the one in the... Yeah, it's the one. We had it at one point, so could have taken it, didn't get it. But we did actually get tensions with the US. I consider that a win. We need to push tensions up, so good stuff. Crude welding, that's nice. Probably take hull down to low now. Probably take armor down to medium as well. This one definitely has range, but you can see the interesting part here is the ability to carry the torpedo. So this will be our friend. Wondering if it was possible to get torpedoes. Clearly was possible. Done. A negative, but that should change quickly enough. Oh, we could do research a new plane. France has stolen. We should send a diplomatic note. Bad, France. Britain resents us controlling Gibraltar. Yes. I am kind of hoping for a war against France and Great Britain in the not the short term, but in the sort of moderate mid term, 2, 3 years ish, 4 years, something like that. That would be ideal. That would give me the opportunity to 4 years fill my new ships and my refits, have a proper carrier force, finish building in Iceland. Yeah, that would be ideal. That's basically the dream scenario. Now, again, I forget about another Cuban rebellion. The resist that's armor piercing. Proofs heavy AA. That's excellent. So good. Craft types. Okay. This one we will definitely make obsolete. We will now make some squadrons of medium bombers. Actually, dive bombers. Well, it's poor, so it can be obsolete anyway. The fighter is not exactly modern, and it's poor. So should we just do a final float plane scout for all time's sake? Then do naval patrol, then do fighter, then a new torpedo bomber in time for a potential war. Float plane scout, bomb. No, I no. Float plane scout now is we don't need them to bomb anything because we have actual torpedo bombers now. So do range, or do we want range reliability? No. Okay, now we are in positive territory and we are above the minimum here. Build ship. Done. One. Uso. Zuma. Zuma. Can do a quick almanac search as well. They have some 40,000 tonners. Maybe they finally will. Hope they don't do. Oh, it's not all forward. Oh, that's good. This one is all forward. 50,000 Centurion. 40,000 ton battle cruiser. What are these guys? They are building teeny tiny. We are the best. Working up. Yeah, I will reorganize my destroyers once we get to 1935, I think. No, we don't do that. Light cruiser needs a commander. No connections lucky. I like that guy. The idea here is to slowly. No, yeah, it had to happen sooner or later. Of course, very sad when it happens. Oh, that was a nasty hit. It was a nasty hit. Save scrum. No, we don't do that. That gets very old and boring very fast. It was a significant hit to our finances. All the ships have commander. Yes, so it has to be a division. The light carrier division has no commander. An incompetent music lover. Any aviators? Rate of fire enthusiast. Average. Lucky. Wily. Disciplinary. Ooh, this one. Timid. What? All the ships have commanders. Destroyer division. No. Can I... Okay. Take it. A disarmament conference. Blah blah. No. We don't want that. Yes. Ah, we're probably gonna have a war in 1935, 36 at the latest. I mean, come on. Let's be realistic. A big cruiser? Oh, no. My light cruiser will wreck you. Fire control. Improved optics. Okay, nice. Improved carrier design. Nice, nice, nice. Well, we basically have no idea what happens here, so. Belly is rumbling. That's probably a hint that I need to have something to eat. Yeah, this is good. Oh, good looking. Damn good. 26 knots, 9 16-inch guns. And then suddenly it runs into my ship that has 18-inch guns. And then it goes glub, 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 glub. Very sad. Excellent. Ah. We are pretty committed to a build strategy now, so I will sign a new carrier for next year. Not right away. Status. Are they all working up? Ah. Serve. Rebuilds almost done, but I think I will rebuild these two now, otherwise we'll never be done with it. We're waiting with destroyers. We're not bothering with the scout cruisers now. Can do a quick max, since it doesn't say what the actual max size is here. Probably more in this territory, 35, yeah. 4-inch guns, that's fine. 1 so what the fuck? Mag box. I just want to get a feel for what's possible here. Yeah, we can do more of those, and we would have to have way more ammo. Then we could easily hit 100 planes, so expect to see something like this, which is an extra not that bad, actually. Okay, yeah, that was just a quick concept study. So 35,200 tons around 100 planes. Not hugely different from what we have, but 100 is starting to get a lot better than 70. 84 is decent. So soon we will have 2 with 70, 4 with 84. No, this has 88. And then 100. And if we build 4 to 6 of those 100 plane, then we are set for some real combat. So now the toast. Yeah. More turn. One more turn. Uchiang, yeah. Air groups. Paletta. Add air unit. Medium bomber. 8. Yeah. You get. Outplane scout is almost done. We can, before we finish this, look to and for rebuild. 32 knots. I mean, they have no AA. That's how old they are. A 6-inch -1 guns. Kind of hilarious, actually. And spacious. How many light AA can we get? Not that many. 36. And rid of 1 pair of guns. I would clearly have to do some adjustments here in terms of AA guns, among other things. I mean, this is not horrible. Has everything I want from a battle cruiser. It's fast. It's got decent firepower. You can see speed costs. So this is a much more expensive refit than the ones we. This can now truly hunt down all sorts of bad guys. This, unfortunately, it's a bit too heavy. Even if we drop an big. Ooh, interesting, interesting. Um, 31 not diesel. Ooh, tempting actually, because diesel is the future, and battle cruisers tend to weave around a bit. Maybe I didn't even need to take off those guns. So, yeah, it's more of a concept, I think. I can look at it in more detail. I was hell-bent on 32 knots, but now I see that diesels are maybe within reach. You can't immediately start building them anyway, so it's not that important. So let's instead, did I save? Probably, but let's move forward to 35. Okay, not assigned. Light carry. That was a very short career. Finances, how are they? These are almost finished. These will finish very soon. And we need to start a new carrier build once these clear, but it will free up not that much. Enough to refit two battle cruisers at once while still building these. We are not starting new light cruisers after this, so we could refit even more capital ships. There are a total of 8, 14, yeah. Okay, so we have options, but we really want a bigger budget, and it was very mean of the diet to take away our money. That concludes episode 66. It was a good episode from my point of view for a peacetime episode. Very interesting. I think some of these designs and refits will do well going forward. We are building, we have a decent build program going. We are building, we are spending 40,000. That's overspending, but we're spending more than 1.5 times our maintenance budget. We got hit with a reduction in budget modifier. That was very sad, but tensions are low. It's only been like a year and a half since the last war. 2 years soon, but yeah, I don't think we can actually complain. Well, we can always complain, but it would not be reasonable complaint. We have started refitting our Nagatos. They will be, the last pair will be done in about a year. Then we'll get going on those 14-inch battle cruisers and maybe also some smaller refits on the more modern ships. Get rid of those O's. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching and see you again very soon.